Welcome to a Gentleman's Review, bringing you the news that the mainstream propaganda does not. And today, joining me is Representative Jay Kilmartin. He's one of the most conservative state representatives in the state of South Carolina. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start out. What is some of the issues that you're dealing with in South Carolina? What's on the docket for these special sessions they're having you in?
Well, this is a regular special session we do yearly to concur with all the Senate amendments on the budget, and they go back and forth. It goes into committee, and they work on the budget, and so this year. I haven't seen it yet, but I've read that they're sneaking another $156 million into a bunch of different, what was it? Office of Resilience, Department of Natural Resources there's one other, Department of Commerce to sneak the extra money for VWs. So that might be a big fight. I think it was Elena Moore that exposed that. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. Other than that, we've been out for a couple weeks, and they just called us back in Thursday at noon.
Nice. So how is the fight for ivermectin going?
Oh my gosh, I learned so much. That was my first bill that I got pushed through subcommittee, committee, House, Senate. The Senate literally let the Pharmacists Association write an amendment, and they struck the whole thing and replaced it. I'm still going to say concur, and then I'm going to push harder for a stronger bill next year, ivermectin on the shelf with Tylenol, because it's safer than Tylenol. Yeah, they managed to screw it up, not royally, but it gave me a sense of who's going to vote for it and who's against it. Shockingly, a bunch of Republicans didn't know what ivermectin was. They don't live in my world, I guess, but we already knew that. So yeah, it was in committee in January, and here we are, June 22nd, and they kept pushing it back. And I asked the subcommittee chair, is it because I am Freedom Caucus? And he literally just paused, kind of looked around, and he said, yeah, probably. They're so petty. They won't give the people of South Carolina a little bit of medical freedom because the guy that's putting up the bill, they don't like, because he takes pictures of the voting board. Oh. I mean, it's so petty. It's incredible. So I had to revert to my seventh grade mind in order to stay down there another couple years.
So you said he's petty because they take pictures of a voting board? Are they ashamed of the way that they're voting, that they don't want their voting records to be publicized?
Yeah, well, before we got kicked out of the caucus, and I don't know if you want to get into that whole thing, but the Freedom Caucus, they asked us to sign a loyalty oath to Republicans, so we can't campaign against any other Republicans. And we said, oh, hell no. Pardon my French. And they kicked us out. And they gave one of the examples of campaigning against was taking pictures of the public voting board that you can see on ETV live, and then posting it to Facebook. I would say most of the Republicans down there don't even look up the bills. They look at how leadership is voting and how they're told to vote in caucus. So, yeah, it's embarrassing to them.
So they don't like their constituents knowing how they vote. It sounds like they're not representing, they're supposed to be our representatives in the House of Representatives. Sounds like they're not representing the people that elect them.
Well, they don't. They represent the check writers in the lobby. Man, I got to write a book on it someday about how the mentality changes when you get down into the State House. People are not very strong in their beliefs. Of course they are on the campaign trail, but they get down there and it's like a fraternity. A lot of the fights on the House floor is political theater. So much of it is pre-planned. They know how it's going to end up. They tell them how to vote, and they forget their constituents. So when you're there to remind them, here's how they voted, they flip out. They're attacking a good conservative. I mean, we just got done with the primaries, and some people that were upset over attack mail. It cracked me up because they spent about $300,000 against me 2 years ago with attack mail. And whatever, we knocked on more doors and we still won. But thank God for the grassroots that knows what's going on down there.
So they spent $300,000 against a state house seat, and you spent what? 25, 50 maybe?
Probably 60.
60.
Yeah, I would know better next time. A big problem are campaign consultants. When you get attacked, they want to attack back, and every attack back is $6,000 in mailers, and so you kind of have to gauge what's important. I got attacked so much. People were telling me at the door when I knocked on their door, they bring all the mailers, a handful, and go, "Is this you?" And I go, "Yeah, that's me." Saying I wanted the death penalty for women that had abortions, and they're like, "Well, it sounds like you're over the target. This is ridiculous. I'm voting for you." I wouldn't even have to say a word other than, "Yeah, that's me," in the attack ads. So yeah, and it's the Republican caucus and the lobbyists. They tell the lobbyists who to attack. It's and then they go out and find people to run against us. So all in all, it was about 400,000. We were just adding up the mailers and the attack text messages, and we'll be sitting in the house. This was a couple of years ago, and they're attacking us while we're sitting in the house because they're in there with us, the people watching our reactions when we all start getting attack messages against us.
Nice. Well, some people say it's kind of a badge of honor. They're attacking you because you're effective. They're attacking you because you're stirring the pot. And I think sometimes, at some point, I think the pot does need to be stirred because if we keep going the way we're going, we're just going to go down the toilet. And the very fact that they're having the lie to defraud you. Defame you is somewhat of a badge of honor.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't. I don't lay in bed at night worried about it anymore. I just know that our grassroots activists are stronger than their rhino activists, gatekeeper activists. They pay attention. They watch ETV while we're in the house. I get texts from supporters while we're debating something. I challenge any rhino in there to show me their phone. They don't have people that pay attention. They just come out of the house and tell people what happened. But our supporters actually watch what happens down there.
Yeah.
And it was we've been disruptors apparently for 4 years. But you watch the governor's debates and everybody's mentioning Freedom Caucus. Two candidates wanted Freedom Caucus as their running mates, their lieutenant governors. The night of the primary, our phones were blowing up. Everybody wanted Freedom Caucus to back them. They know that our followers are watching and very, very influential.
So, what do you think some of the biggest threats to freedom in South Carolina is? Is it the lobbyists? What the deep state? What are some of the biggest threats that you see in Columbia?
I don't know how to say this without sounding like I don't appreciate the voters, but the biggest threat are voters not paying attention. Because there are good people that go down there that run as Republicans, but as soon as they get down there, they forget their constituents. There's literally, hundreds of people in the lobby, and they all make, 6-digit salaries, and they have checkbooks, and leadership tells them how to vote. It's voter apathy, just people not paying attention. I think if we have a few people that pay attention and grow that, you'll expose the freedoms they're trying to take away. And, they do it through crony capitalism and overtaxation. And so, yeah, we need more people to pay attention. And I get it. I own 2 restaurants, a cigar shop. I really don't have time. I wouldn't have time if I wasn't in there to sit there and watch a bunch of political theater. So, get involved. Know who your reps are. I have neighbors. I could knock on their door. They know who I am. They know I'm a politician, and I could ask them who their state rep is, and they would go, I don't know. Is it Joe Wilson? Like, no, it's me, dummy. So it's yeah. I learned more than I ever thought I would learn when I went in there. I thought I kind of knew how things worked, but it's worse.
Indeed, indeed. And most of the people that most people don't know who their reps are, but the people that do know who their reps are, they don't know how they vote. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
too many times have I been to different meetings, local grassroots meetings, and I say, well, how do you like so and so, your state senator or your state rep? And they go, oh, they're so great, they're so conservative, da 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 da. And then I hand them their voting record, their scorecard, and they go, wait a minute, that ain't how they voted. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I ain't too conservative. I said, it sounds like you need to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. People ask me, and they don't have the time. I can send them links to SC legislature online and what we're voting on, but things go fast down there even for me. As you're voting on things, like if I'm fighting for ivermectin and another big bill comes up, you got to do a lot of catch up. And sometimes they post the bill right before you're to vote on it, so you got to read 50 pages or a summary of it, and then you rely on other people, and that's not really good. You should read every single bill, and they admitted last year, oh, most reps don't read the bills. Just go along. But yeah, so I tell people, find a conservative group that you trust, like John Birch Society, the Freedom Index. There's so many. There's probably 5 different national groups that grade based on certain votes. They'll take a sample of 5 to 10 to 15 votes that are very that can be conservative or liberal, and they rate legislators, and go to that if you can't follow along, because following along would be a full-time job. So find a group you trust: American Conservative Union, CPAC, Club for Growth, what is it, South Carolina Policy Council. They put it all out there. So that's an idea. Maybe I'll put all the links on one page and do a post. But that's the way to do it. Find a group you trust.
Indeed. So that's some of the ways on how to be informed. What can you do on the local level? People say, well, there's nothing I can do as one person, so why even bother? What do you say to someone like that? How would you as an individual tell somebody to get involved?
I say we get the government we deserve. And there's a million ways to get involved. I would say start with, when I was in the Tea Party movement 15 years ago, we were told, don't even go to the county party stuff, GOP. They said it's hopeless. And when I did finally go 6 years ago, actually probably 8 years ago, I was living in Richland County, and it was hopeless. When I went to Lexington, it was hopeless. But we went on the precinct level. We got good people to run for precinct president, executive committeeman, and we flipped it. So number one, go to your local GOP meeting, Lexington County, the first Monday of every month at either Flight Deck or Lexington American Legion, and you'll meet a few rhinos, a lot of crazy right-wingers, which that's my group. Love them, and just network. And then us conservatives have jobs, so we're not very good communicators. So you just find out about different groups that are meeting. There's a lot of good conservative groups that meet. When we speak in front of them, we always ask, are they friendly? Because uh, they're either pro-freedom caucus or they hate. And they mostly hate us because we expose their friends, like in office. I can't figure it out because they won't debate us one-on-one on the issues of conservative issues. They just get angry with us because we disrupt.
So it's just emotion. That sounds more like some of the liberal Democrats. It's just this rage of emotion. There's no logic behind it. It's just, I
Mm-hmm.
guess they don't know how to express it. It sounds like a liberal Democratic tactic.
I would say the Democrats are better at it, at a lot of it. You don't have all these crazy gatekeepers of the swamp on social media attacking you daily, and I don't even answer it most of the time. A lot of it's bad information, or I heard this. I got accused last week of endorsing uh, Alan Wilson to and I traded my endorsement for a job as the head of LLR, which is Labor Licensing and Regulations. I literally had to look up LLR because I really don't deal with them, and they're saying I'm going to head up LLR, and it was a whole thing on Twitter, and I'm going, "What's LLR? What am I going to be the head of?" And I put, "Do I have to quit my restaurant? Do I have to sell the restaurants? Am I allowed to smoke cigars at work? Like, why would I take up a job that's in the middle of all the bureaucracy?" And then somebody's like, "Well, we wouldn't have licenses and businesses without LLR." I'm like, I've never paid a penny to LLR or gotten a license from them. So there's a whole department we need to look into that who knows what they do.
Just draining the system. We're throwing money at it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what about capitalism? I mean, we need all these licensing things. I mean, how many businessmen for thousands of years operated without LLR and all these licenses and just freedom to trade
Yeah,
and buy and sell and provide services? Uh, it's
yeah.
like, oh wow, we need this.
You
No,
need 1,500 hours of class time in order to be a barber. Like, you can't cut your neighbor's hair for $10 unless you have 1,500 hours. Yeah, some of the restrictions on business. I could go on and on because I've got 3 businesses. I employ about 90 people in the state, and that's talk about a full time job. But yeah, just making sure everything's up to date. My business licenses, my insurance, paying my taxes. I'm paying taxes at the cigar shop today. Tobacco tax, local option tax because I live in Richland County, transportation tax because I live in Richland County, sales tax. It's a lot. Excuse me.
and I guess all that does is just drive the price of your products up. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to pay all these taxes when you could be charging less if you didn't have all this overhead.
Yeah, well, you know what else drives the price up is when they bring in VW Scout and they tell them they're tax free. I mean, you've got people, sucking on the resources that we have um, in a big $1.3 billion factory, and they don't cut the taxes back. They tax the small business people. So yeah, I say cut the taxes back if you're going to let somebody live here for free and give them hundreds of acres of land and build a railroad to their factory. It's insane. I don't know if you've seen it, but drive up through Blythewood.
they built all these roads, and then VW just announced that they're not coming to South Carolina. They're going to Charlotte. And it's like, so how do we get that money back?
Yeah, well, the high paying job. Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's you called it crony capitalism. I think it's more redistribution of wealth.
Oh, 100%.
So that's the true. They hide under crony capitalism. It's really communism is what it is. You take from one person, you give to everybody else. I think it's the same thing what Nikki Haley did getting Bowen here. Now she's on the board of Bowen, and we foot the bill. I don't know what would have happened if she'd have got Disney here. I guess she'd be on the board of Disney too.
Oh yeah, it's the retirement hookup, right? And it's about influence. If you have influence, you get your friends hired. You're in the conversations. The rest of us South Carolinians don't have that influence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming and talking with me. This is thank you for watching a gentleman's review, bringing you the news that the mainstream propaganda doesn't. And please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Arthur. Have a great day.